It's actually insane how many characters there are within the video game Fortnite. If you want to run around as Captain Hook from Peter Pan with a skibbity toilet back bling with an X-Wing as your glider, you can do that in this video game. But many people want to know what skins are being added to the game in 2025. So I went ahead and created a bingo skin prediction list for this year. Every row is themed after something different. We have gaming, Star Wars, movies coming out in 2025, musicians, and finally content creators. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into my bingo skin prediction list for 2025. We're gonna go ahead and start out with the top row. It's all themed around characters in video games. The first one on this list is the Scout from Team Fortress 2. If you haven't played this video game, it's a class-based shooter that was created by Valve, and many other gaming studios use this as inspiration to create their own class-based shooter, like Overwatch or even Marvel Rivals. However, I believe that the Scout from Team Fortress 2 is a great character to add into Fortnite. I think his proportions fit well, and I believe that Valve probably has Fortnite on their radar. And the reason I say that is because they have the back bling skibbity toilet, which essentially is a Gary's Mod character or Half-Life 2 character model that was used in these animations on YouTube, and this is how this character is actually in the game. It's an inspiration, obviously. So my guess is that Valve probably has it on their radar. If they want to add any characters into Fortnite, I highly suggest that they consider adding Scout from Team Fortress 2. The next character that I have is Jinx from Arcane or League of Legends. And you might think, well, wait a second, moopliss, we already have a Jinx skin in the game. There is a lot of traction online with people wanting the Arcane skins to come back into the game. It actually caught the attention of a very high up person at Riot Games. He said that he'll look into trying to get the Arcane skins to reappear in the game. So the chances of them reappearing is actually pretty high. But I think if they're going to add the old skins back into the game, chances are they'll look at season 2 of Arcane and want to add skins from that season. Jinx is a very popular character, so I think the alternative outfit that she has at the end of season 2 of Arcane, where she has this hood and she's actually kind of chopped her hair a little bit, I think this is a great addition to add into the game. The next character that we have is Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Listen, I'm a big advocate of the Kingdom Hearts game, and with Disney actually investing a lot into Fortnite, I think they own 10% now of Fortnite or Epic Games, which is truly wild, to be honest with you. The chances of them adding Sora to the game is quite high. I don't know if it'll be in 2025. My guess is whenever Kingdom Hearts 4 is currently being promoted or being, advertised online, they'll consider adding Sora into the game. Maybe it won't be his Kingdom Hearts 2 attire, which I believe is the best outfit that Sora had. Regardless, I think Sora has a really high chance of being added into the game at one point in the future. We have the next person here. It has to be a World of Warcraft character. I'm sorry, I make a lot of World of Warcraft content on my channel. It's Xal'atath. I did consider thinking, oh, they could add the Lich King or any other popular character like Sylvanas. But I believe that if Blizzard Entertainment wanted a character in Fortnite, it would probably tie into their expansions that they're working on, and the main antagonist in these expansions is Xal'atath. So this is why I believe we'll probably get a Xal'atath skin in 2025, because we hope to have the expansion Midnight later on this year, probably around August, September, or November of this year. And chances are, if they want to get the word out and get people in from other video game genres to look into World of Warcraft, well, a character in Fortnite is one of the best ways to do so. Finally, at the end of this list is a character I don't really know too much about, but I think it's probably a safe bet to assume they will be added into the game. This is a character from the newest Assassin's Creed game, which should release sometime in 2025. I myself, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed game in many years. I did watch my younger brother play Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. Other than that, I really don't know a lot about Assassin's Creed, but I do know it's a very big franchise, and if they have a new game coming out this year, then the chances of them adding one of the main characters from the new Assassin's Creed game that they've been working working on for quite some time. I did read online it's been delayed multiple times, so if they want this game to do well, they want more eyes on it, let's go ahead and add a character into Fortnite from their game. The next row that we have on here is all Star Wars themed. I like watching Star Wars. I grew up watching the films as a kid. Obviously, with Disney investing a lot into Epic Games, they have been releasing Star Wars skins every single year. So with this whole theme, not only is it Star Wars themed, but it's also all droids. I think it's time for us to finally get an actual bot skin into the game, so that way if your lobby is filled with bots, well, maybe they'll be wearing one of these skins. The first character is General Grievous. I think adding General Grievous into the game is one of the easiest and best choices to do. I will be copping a General Grievous skin 100%. That way, when you run into an Obi-Wan skin, you can have that actual interaction where you say, "Hello there, General Kenobi." It would be awesome. But if they don't add General Grievous into the game, they could add just a normal battle droid into the game. We could have an emote where the character says, "Roger, Roger." That would be amazing. I think this is also a safe pick to add into the game. And if they want to add different color variations, like the commander has that, little like yellow paint strip on him, or if they want to do other droids where they have different color combinations, kind of like what they did with the stormtroopers, it's a safe bet that maybe the battle droid will be added into the game. Now, if they don't add those two choices, then they might add the security droid or the K2SO droid from Rogue One. You might think, well, Rogue One doesn't have a sequel coming out this year, and I think they are working on Andor Season 2, so chances are we might see that character in that show, and that would mean that putting him into the game is a perfect example as to why it's good marketing, and it's a good excuse to add him into the game. Maybe you're like, these three choices are not good. Okay, what about being C-3PO cranking 90s? I know he is a back bling, and that would actually be kind of funny if you had the C-3PO skin and then had a broken C-3PO on your back as the back bling. You can get this back bling if you had the Chewbacca skin. So I think it's about time they add C-3PO into the game. Oh, he might be too fast and he actually moves slower in the movies. Who cares? Like, we have so many characters and skins in this game. It's about time that they add C-3PO as a skin. Last but not least, I believe this character is L3 from the Han Solo series. Obviously, it's not my top pick of droids or skins they should add. If it is within the theme of Star Wars and droids, this is another contender that I think has good proportions. It's not like they have to redo the skin. They could literally just add that character from that movie into the game. It's correct proportions, and I think it would be funny if they had an emote where the head like spins around and stuff like that. This is the whole row of Star Wars and droids. Maybe they'll add other characters from Star Wars. I could think of like Count Dooku or many other different characters, but I'm gonna keep it with the droid theme. We're gonna move on over into our next row, which is actually all films coming out in 2025. This next pick that I have is Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. They are releasing a real live version of How to Train Your Dragon. I don't think they'll probably use the actual real actor because a lot of people don't know what he looks like. So I think having the animated character from How to Train Your Dragon is probably a safer bet to have into the game. It would be really cool to have his pickaxe with the flaming sword. I'm a big advocate of flaming swords from Guild Wars 2, so I think having Hiccup with his flaming sword would be pretty cool. But maybe Hiccup isn't your cup of tea. Perhaps you want to run around the game as Tom Cruise. The reason why I picked Tom Cruise is, you guessed it, there is a brand new Mission Impossible movie that should be releasing in 2025. Tom Cruise is always doing like a majority of all his stunts within all his films, and he's constantly like running all the time. So yeah, it makes sense to add a Mission Impossible themed character of Tom Cruise into the game. We do have a free space with Bingo, so hey, I didn't have to consider too much with this row. But the very next character we have is Snow White. You might be thinking, Snow White? This film came out many years ago. Why would they add a Snow White character? They do have a live action of Snow White coming out sometime in 2025. It's the same reason I'm giving with Hiccup from How to Train Your Dragon. I don't think they'll use the real life actor for the skin. They'll probably use the animated version. We already have Captain Hook. We already have Cruella de Vil in the game, so they'll probably use an animated version of Snow White. Who's to say like what they would use for her pickaxe, probably something Apple themed or something like that. But the final character on this whole list is a character coming up in the brand new Captain America film. It's the Red Hulk, played by Harrison Ford. I don't know too much about the movie, but I do know it's coming out this year. It's been something they've been working on for a long time. My guess is Disney probably wants eyes on their new film. They already have the Hulk in the game, so if Harrison Ford says, hey, I don't want my likeness in the game, they could probably just add a red version of Hulk in the game, and hey, there we go. It's the comic book version of him or whatever it might be. Now we're gonna move on over into the row below, which the theme for this row is musicians. If you don't know, Fortnite does have a Guitar Hero themed game mode in the game. They've been constantly adding musicians into the game, like Eminem, we have Ariana Grande, Travis Scott, Snoop Dogg. So I think musicians coming into the game this year probably are a higher chance, and we might see characters like Michael Jackson. Yeah, he does have a lot of influence within the whole music industry, and having a Thriller dance for Michael Jackson as an emote would be pretty cool. Am I a big fan of Michael Jackson? No, not really, but I do know that he's all over the music industry. He's had a big impact within the music industry, so it probably makes sense that if they could get the rights to have a Michael Jackson skin in the game, people would probably go crazy over it. I'm gonna bring one of my personal favorites into the mix, Tame Impala. The main musician of this band is Kevin Parker. He's the one that basically does everything now for Tame Impala. Normally, this guy releases an album every like 5 years or so, and what do you know? The last album that he released was 2020. So hey, Kevin Parker, Tame Impala, if you're watching this video, I am waiting for a brand new album, my boy. But regardless, I think having some type of trippy or cool looking skin for Kevin Parker, aka Tame Impala, would be amazing to see in Fortnite. But if we don't have Tame Impala, we might have other characters that are a bit more loud on social media, like Oliver Tree. If you don't know of Oliver Tree, well, he does have a pretty good impact within the music industry. He doesn't take himself too seriously. He's a bit goofy online in his music videos, and I think with the multiple different outfits that he has, he could be a high contender for actually being in the music or Fortnite festival pass within the game. And I do enjoy listening to Oliver Tree. There could be so many great emotes with him. Probably him riding a scooter is my guess, because this is pretty much one of the iconic things that he used to do growing up. He was really much into BMX or scootering or whatever you might call it. He really likes to ride a scooter, so if he's gonna have an emote, it's got to be something with a scooter. The next person on this list is a big throwback for me. I grew up listening to this as a teenager, Deadmau5. I think Deadmau5 being added into the game is a high chance. He did stream Fortnite back in the day when it was in its early phase in 2017 or 2018. Deadmau5 himself did release a skin within the video game. I think it's some tank game. I really don't know exactly what tank game it is, but he is putting himself into games and working with other studios to add his likeness in video games. Can you imagine having Marshmello go up against a Deadmau5 skin? Like that would be incredible to see within Fortnite, and chances are it could happen in 2025 if Deadmau5 is down to add his likeness in the game. Finally, the last person that I have right here is, I don't know, usually the last row is something where I'm just kind of guessing what it could be, and it's none other than Paul McCartney from the Beatles. I do like listening to the Beatles, and the Beatles have a big impact within the music industry. Let's go ahead and try and find the likeness of a Beatles member who is still alive. They could chat with Paul McCartney and see if he's okay with his likeness being added into the game. Will it happen? I don't know. The chances are pretty low. Paul McCartney's a little bit older. Maybe he really doesn't know too much about video games, but it would be cool to see at least one Beatles member added into Fortnite. And with the final row at the very bottom, the theme is content creators. And if you don't know, there are a lot of different content creators being added as skins into the game, such as Ninja and many others. So starting off the list, we have Kai Cenat. If you don't know, he did a live stream with iShowSpeed, a marathon where they would play ranked OG Fortnite builds, and they wouldn't stop streaming until they got a win, with both of them being alive. I believe since he's played the game for a very long time, and he's pretty much a positive person within the content creator space, I think it's a safe bet for Epic Games to work closely with Kai and add him into the game. I think people would go crazy if they had a skin of Kai Cenat Kaisenet within the game. But maybe you actually want someone who's a little bit more into the Fortnite community, adding content. Bush Camp Dad, I think, is a high contender to get a skin in 2025. Every single season, Bush Camp Dad hits Unreal by basically hiding or fishing and trying to stay alive as long as he can. Now, is he the best fighter in the game? No, not really. But with his skill set, it is shown that you don't have to be someone who's, you know, cranking 90s and wiping half the lobby to be good at the video game. You can essentially have your own strategy to get a victory royale. And with all the creative content that Bush Camp Dad has released within the years, I think it's about time he finally gets a skin. But perhaps you've read a little bit about these next two people who I'm putting in the same category. It could probably be a variety of people. I think it might be time to give the leakers of Fortnite to get their own skin, and not individual skins. I think it should be a mashup of all the leakers. Maybe it's not an actual character, but there's some elements of like HypeX on there with his portal, or perhaps Sheena with League of Legends profile picture that they use. Perhaps they are part of that skin as well. It'd be really cool to have some type of like hooded, anonymous kind of character in the game to bear a resemblance to the leakers that are constantly sharing what is coming up in Fortnite on Twitter and many other platforms such as YouTube. So this is kind of a wombo combo skin of many different people combined into one. It wouldn't be the likeness as to one individual. It would probably be a bunch of people mashed together, and it's kind of like, I guess, honoring the people who are constantly driving up hype and essentially bringing a lot of news to the Fortnite community when Epic Games is kind of pumping the brakes and they'd rather wait to announce things. But of course, leakers are going to do what they do best, and they're going to announce things as early as they can. The next person we have is iShowSpeed. It's kind of the same deal with Kaisenet. I think either of them are great contenders for Fortnite. iShowSpeed is actually pretty good at the game. Like, the dude does a pretty good job of building and making sure that people are getting knocked, and he's rezzing his teammate Kai. There was a YouTuber who made a resemblance or some type of skin mock-up of what he would look like in the game, so it could be something like that where he's wearing some football jersey. There could be tons of emotes for iShowSpeed to use, but chances are it's probably going to be something with a backflip. Hopefully he doesn't land into a desk like he did in his marathon, but I think iShowSpeed could end up in the game. Final person that I have listed on the bingo sheet, it's kind of a cop-out, but hey, who's to say? Maybe it will happen. It's myself in the game. I think we all would like our own versions of ourselves within Fortnite, and I think it would be really cool to have myself one day added into the game. And if Epic Games is like, oh, that's too much work, we don't want to animate all his dreads, hey, I have a whole mock-up of what this skin could look like in the game. So yeah, like, half the work is done for you. But if you guys have any recommendations as to what skins you might see in 2025, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you very much to my Patreon supporters. It's literally one person, so thank you very much, SassPass. And thank you for watching all the way to the end. As always, stay hydrated, gamers.